Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 513 Sports Attack.
I'm Nick, and with me, as always, my partner in crime, Corey.
What's going on?
Well, man, just still digressing from the Super Bowl weekend. Uh, Crazy game we watched. Saw a good comeback, if you call it a comeback, by the Chiefs in the fourth quarter. And to me, I thought it was one of the best Super Bowls we've actually seen in a while from a game standpoint. It was very nice to see, not a Brady, Roethlisberger, Manning, Flat, all those guys just in the game. It was just, nice and refreshing to see two brand new teams in it. Uh, so that's what's going on.
Yeah, it was a really good game. I do agree with you. It was the one one of the better ones we've had in a while. I think I obviously wanted the Chiefs to win. I picked the Chiefs to win. I definitely expected their offense to explode a little bit more. It did show how good that San Francisco defense really is. But at the end of this game, it was Shanahan was outcoached. I didn't think it was going to happen. I just knew that eventually Andy Reid would assert his dominance as a coach. I couldn't be happier that the Chiefs won, especially for him. He's most deserving of a championship for what he's done for the NFL. Obviously with the Eagles, but taking this Chiefs team, Mahomes, obviously going to be around. They're talking about him being the highest paid player in the league. I'm not surprised. He's great, phenomenal. He's got a lot of talent around him, though. But yeah, great game all around.
And speaking to that, with him getting that paycheck, you just mentioned it, though. He has a lot of talent around him. You see, when you take these big paydays, sometimes you don't always be able to keep that same talent around you. Whether it's your offense, letting a couple offensive linemen go, letting one of your receivers go, maybe a running back, or a corner, just those little pieces that make, what you guys had this year special. So Mahomes, I would think about that if I were you. Definitely take the money when you could get it, but also think about, am I going to be able to keep Tyreek Hill with me all this time? McCole Hardeman, Sammy Watkins, Travis Kelce, he's getting up there, but how long are we going to have to let him go because I take money? It's just something to think about. But as for the Super Bowl goes, what were your likes and dislikes from it, Corey? What did you like most about the Super Bowl? And then just tell us what you didn't like about it.
So the thing I liked most, as we've kind of already talked about, was just kind of how good of a game it was. Obviously, the suspense, it was never really leaning one way or the other in the first half, which was great. You wanted to see it. I enjoyed the halftime show. Part of the Super Bowl. I enjoyed the halftime show. I think it was great. Obviously, there's a lot of controversy with that, but I don't really feel it's necessary to talk about that. I did enjoy it, though. Second half, it was, again, I wasn't surprised, but eventually Mahomes had magic. Now, granted, Tyreek Hill is the fastest player on the field and was wide open and ran 10 yards past his man. However, main like was just the game. It was a football game. The refs let them play. There were a couple calls that, I didn't necessarily agree or disagree with. I think they could have, held without, but I don't think the refs in any way really made their mark on this game. It was just two really good teams going at it.
Yeah, for the most part, to me, it seemed like they let him play. And that's what you kind of want in this game. You don't want to see ticky-tacky fouls called, penalties called. And to be honest, in football, the way the game is played, you could call holding on every single running play or just on any play in general. You could call a pass interference on the defense or offense half the time. There's so much hand checking going on. I like that they let him play. One thing I also liked about just the game in general, the back and forth that it had. Wasn't really getting too out of hand either way. And to be honest, it was just like you said, Corey, it was a great game. The one thing I didn't like about this year's Super Bowl is I don't think the most deserving player on that field got the MVP. Personally, I think running back Damian Williams should have had it. Uh, just considering, and again, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, but he did throw 2 interceptions. He did turn the ball over twice. So, and he only threw 2 touchdowns. I mean, yes, he did rush for one, but it wasn't like, he threw 5 touchdown passes and had 1 interception. So Damon Williams, he didn't have a turnover. He averaged 6.1 yards a carry and had a touchdown and also had a receiving touchdown. To me, that's the MVP. He scored twice. Yes, Patrick Mahomes threw for 2 and ran one in, but he also turned the ball over twice. Just from I can't remember the last time I saw a quarterback win the MVP trophy with having 2 turnovers in my memory.
Yeah, I agree with you. I really do. But again, I've gone back and forth with this decision. I like it. The Chiefs are there. The Chiefs are in that game because of Patrick Mahomes. Yes, he had 2 interceptions, but deserving. In my opinion, deserving enough. Damian Williams had a great game. Absolutely. Had a phenomenal game. I take nothing away from him. They don't win without him. They do not win without him. But the 30 yards, 40 yards on that last play to run for a touchdown was on one run. Granted, he had a phenomenal game. That's aided by a 40-yard touchdown run. Now, that's
the clinching touchdown run, though. The clinching touchdown run.
Off of a check by Patrick Mahomes. Reading the defense.
Okay, still, he just still made that check. What if he gets dropped for 4 yards? What if he gets dropped for 5 yards? What if he fumbles? You're right. Patrick Mahomes made the check to run it. However, though, he still ran it 40 yards for the game-winning touchdown. The game-clinching touchdown. Not winning, game-clinching touchdown.
I understand. I really do.
Once said, winners want the ball in their hands. You don't check out regardless of the defense.
I understand. I really do. But to be fair, at the end of the day, I don't think either one would have been upset. Obviously just winning a championship is a great feeling, right, and they'll enjoy it. So, congratulations to the Chiefs.
And, to counteract my own point, how are you not going to put the cover of Madden as your MVP if he's playing in the game? I get it. I get it, but to me personally, Damian Williams was my MVP of the Super Bowl. What didn't you like about this game, Core? Because I know we just had the MVP discussion. What didn't you like about the game?
I didn't like the way Shanahan did not run the football in the fourth quarter. I do not like how they were playing man-to-man on 3rd and 15. I don't like kicking a field goal on 4th and 2. Look at the stats. 4th and 1, Andy Reid, not even a question. Andy Reid, 4th and 4, not even a question, they're going. They didn't even consider it. There's a reason why. I didn't like the coaching moves. It's tough. It's tough. They got outcoached. And they got exploited for those moves. Think of it this way. You don't give up 3rd and 15. It's 4th and 15. They have to punt, and they have 3 timeouts. And there's 4 minutes left.
I think it was maybe around the 6-7 minute mark.
Okay,
minute mark
whatever.
like
Okay, whatever, but you still, and you're getting the
Under
ball back.
10 minutes.
And they haven't
Yeah.
stopped you. Again, we've talked about this. I think, you mentioned it earlier. Emmanuel Sanders stopped running. Give yourself a shot. The ball was not the prettiest. It was in the air for a very long time.
Lay out.
But
It's a Super Bowl. Lay out. Hey. We can, you know what, Court, when I say that, and it's because it's a Super Bowl, David Tyree never caught another pass in the NFL after that Super Bowl, and he will be forever remembered for that catch. Manningham, his toe tap against New England, will be remembered for that play. Santonio Holmes against the Cardinals in 2000, what was that, 2009? Yeah, our freshman year of college, that February. Santonio Holmes, game-winning touchdown, toe tap. Lay out. You ain't playing next week. You're going back home. Just lay out. Give yourself a chance to catch the ball. But, no, I agree with you, man. I don't understand why Emmanuel Sanders, stopped running when he thought he was about to be double-teamed. Like, Jimmy G wasn't about to throw it to him. It looked like Jimmy G in the huddle probably said, Emmanuel, I'm going to you no matter what. Get downfield. And you read it, and then you just stop, and then you're like, oh, snap, the ball's in the air. Let me try to sprint down there real fast. Well, too late now.
I told you earlier, I think the ball was still a little overthrown. But you're right. He could have laid out. There's a chance he could have made that play, a huge play that would have changed and flipped momentum immensely. But that's not here or there.
Right. Well, I mean, what happened.
And even the aftermath of the Super Bowl, the fact that the San Francisco's talking about not bringing back Garoppolo, seriously?
Yeah, I don't understand that. He just literally led you to a Super Bowl. Literally led you there and had you 10 minutes away from winning the game. What?
Right. Come on. He took you there. You couldn't get over the hump. He brought you there. Now, I'm not saying that he won or lost the Super Bowl. Again, I think there were some bad plays on defense by the 49ers. It was a little sloppy, especially in the fourth quarter. But I don't. Come on, really?
You know what this does? You know what the media of sports likes to do? They like to overreact to both extremes, the good and the bad extremes. Let me give you an example. Jeremy Lin. Okay, Jeremy Lin. When he was with Linsanity with the Knicks, everybody was hopping on Linsanity's train. Where is he now? He didn't even play in the NBA Finals for the Raptors. I don't even think he logged a minute in. He may have, and I could be over-exaggerating to that effect, but however, he still has a ring. Correct, Corey. You're right. He still has a ring. However, though, where's Linsanity now? Nowhere. You know what I mean? And then now you have the media acting to the negative extreme in San Francisco. Oh, can Jimmy G get the job done? Would you be saying that? And you know what? They'd be saying the exact same thing about Patrick Mahomes right now, though, if they would have lost. Oh, was Patrick too young? Can Andy Reid really win the big game as a head coach? Just cut it. Just stop. The media needs to stop. Sportsnet, like ESPN, just stop with it. The guy just literally let them get to the Super Bowl. We're not even a week out of the game. And you guys are already talking about Jimmy G leaving San Francisco. Let me tell you something. They keep this group together, they're going to be back there next year.
Yeah, I agree. There's nothing else to say. There's no need for it. He's an elite quarterback. He can make the throws. He's not as nimble as we all expected him to be, but he didn't do anything outside of overthrow a couple of balls that were costly. And you're there. You had a 10-point lead going into the fourth quarter with the best defense in the league. you expect to win. But getting rid of him already, bringing in Tom Brady's not even better than him.
Oh no. I mean,
So
not Brady now.
right. So I mean, I don't know. Not a knock against Tom Brady because he's pretty much better than everybody else. But in their situation, the young mind, young quarterback, it works. Look at the Rams.
Keep in mind, he's coming off an ACL tear.
Right.
Like,
had a great year. It's
he's going to follow it up.
Yeah, I agree. So I hope they hold on to him.
And you know who he kind of looked like out there? It was kind of like watching a young Brady. The way Jimmy G commanded that game up until he threw that first interception, then his second, and overthrowing and those couple overthrows, he looked like a young Brady out there commanding the game, doing what he wanted on offense. And I think part of that was because they could establish the run. They got the play action involved. They got their fullback involved, the forgotten position in football. And then in the second half, they just went away from all that. And it put more pressure on him to make a bigger play. And we even see it now. Brady makes those mistakes where he'll throw an interception. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just no reason to react that way for Jimmy G. Now, something actually that just happened right before we were starting to record, we saw and just recently came out, was the NBA All-Star rosters. Giannis and LeBron just drafted. As we were watching it, obviously Anthony Davis went number 1 to LeBron. He's going to pick his teammate. And then what Giannis did next surprised the hell out of me. Who did he pick, Core? Tell us. The first pick for Giannis.
Disagree with it 100%. But he took Joel Embiid. Now, Joel Embiid is a phenomenal center and a great player. But who LeBron took with the second pick, Kawhi Leonard, is probably who I thought Giannis was going to take.
I would have taken him.
Right.
But it's a no-brainer.
That's what I thought. So, whatever. That's really kind of how I feel about that pick. Then LeBron, like I said, took Kawhi. Took Kawhi. And then Giannis took Pascal Siakam from the Raptors. Another big, to go ahead and round out that front court.
Yeah, I that's another pick I would not have made. Especially with everybody else sitting on the board, like James Harden,
anybody
else but Siakam.
So then LeBron takes Luka Doncic.
Right there. That should have been instead of Siakam.
So, again, I like Luka Doncic as the pick. So LeBron is pretty much just rolling right now. Giannis then takes Kemba Walker. Great player. But then LeBron takes James Harden. Giannis is all size, has some and speed. So it looks like they're going to be all about the 2-ball. So then after James Harden, Giannis takes Trae Young to round out, takes Trae Young. Yes, takes Trae Young to round out his top 5. Then LeBron takes James Harden.
No,
LeBron took
James Harden, Trae Young to Giannis by default.
Yep.
And then you have, but I mean, if you really look at it, East, 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 West, 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 West. So they primarily, I guarantee they probably said, hey, let's just take our starters from our own conference. To make it really kind of a true West versus East battle.
Yeah, and I mean,
when you look at it, that's what the starting 5 is.
It is 100%. And then obviously to round out the rest of the draft, LeBron then took Damian Lillard.
No, it was Giannis's pick. He took his teammate Chris Middleton.
Oh, yep.
Then
LeBron
took Damian Lillard. Giannis then took Bam,
Adebayo,
and then LeBron took
Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons. Rudy Gobert went to Giannis. Nikola went to LeBron. Then Jimmy Butler. And then here, so we go Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, Brandon Ingram, Donovan Mitchell round out Giannis. And then you have Jason Tatum, Chris Paul, Russ, and Domantas Sabonis rounding out LeBron's team.
I hate to say it, but LeBron's team is stacked.
Oh, well, duh. I mean, Anthony, just right here, Anthony Davis and Kawhi Leonard, Luka, and James Harden. And you're not even and then LeBron, like, come on. You ain't going to be able to defend them. But there's no defense in the All-Star game anyways.
I don't think there's anything else to say, but LeBron, in my opinion, LeBron's team's going to win. Unfortunately, I think that's how I feel.
I don't disagree with you looking at their teams. I don't disagree. But then again, I mean, I always think the West. Recently, the West has been more dominant All-Star wise, anyways, than the East. So I think even if you did keep this just West versus the East, the West would win anyways. Even without the mix, you know what I mean? I just don't think the East All-Stars in general are as good as anybody over in the West.
Yeah, I agree. But the NBA All-Star Weekend is a couple weekends away. Let's talk a couple NBA trades that have happened. Today, a couple of days ago. Starting and they are blockbuster trades. What do you got? Yeah, what do you got?
The first blockbuster trade that I would like to talk about is the Warriors sending D'Lo out sending out him to Minnesota and in turn getting Andrew Wiggins. There's some picks. There's a protected first-round pick, top 3 that the Timberwolves sent over to the Golden State. Jacob Evans and another player went over to Minnesota in the deal as well to even everything out. I think the Warriors also received a 2022 first or second round pick in that deal as well. But just the 2 stars of the trade were enough to draw me in. Personally, this makes the Warriors way more dangerous once Clay and Steph get back than having D'Lo on the team. Defense. Wiggins will play defense. He'll be that other lockdown defensive guy next to Draymond and Clay that they've desperately needed.
Yeah, and the more and more I look at this trade, this is not only a huge move, but you know what this is? This is a future move. This is a move that Andrew Wiggins might be in the Bay for the rest of his career. Andrew Wiggins, remember, the Timberwolves were his second team. Technically. Okay. However, I really, this is it's an unreal trade if you're a Golden State. If you're a Golden State fan, this is a big trade for you. This is a big trade for you.
There's a lot
He
going
has
on.
a humongous upside. He can still get better. He's going to be shooting with the best players in basketball, playing one of the two best players, one of the 2 best two-way players in basketball.
Not only that, think about this. And as we were talking earlier before we started recording on this Thursday evening, was the draft picks that the Warriors could have. They could potentially get 2 top 5 picks in this upcoming NBA draft.
They could have number 1 and number 4.
Right. Think about the talent that you're going to get at that. Or you could use it as a little trade bait, knowing that, oh, hey, we're getting Clay and Steph back healthy. We have Andrew Wiggins. We have Draymond Green. We got Kevon Looney. Oh, should we upgrade our center position? Anybody willing to take our number 4 pick for a center? You know what I mean? There's just a lot of moving pieces now that they have assets that they can use to really improve the team and maybe even improve the bench as well.
Also speaking of the Warriors, something else they did, I think, obviously to make room for the Andrew Wiggins trade, was they did trade Glenn Robinson III and Alec Burks to who'd they trade him to? I'm not sure who they traded him to, but they traded it for 3 second-round picks, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. So they're just stocking up on assets. The next trade I would like to definitely talk about is the Clippers just landed Marcus Morris in a 3-team deal that involved the Wizards, the Knicks, and the Clippers. So the Knicks get the Clippers get Marcus Morris and Isaiah Thomas, and Jerome Robinson will join the Wizards, while the Knicks will receive Mo Harkless and a 2020 first-round draft pick, according to sources. Now, the Clippers are now, obviously, they've already said, we are going to waive Isaiah Thomas. We're not going to take him. So they kind of gave up a little bit of... They improved their position, definitely. But if you're the Knicks fan, you're like, oh, here goes our front office again, trading away talent, not being able to keep anybody. If you're a Knicks fan, Corey, what's your feelings after this trade?
I think there's other things wrong with the Knicks that they have to worry about than this trade. I don't, for the first time, I feel like in a long time, they really don't have an asset. They really don't have any assets other than they're not good. They're going to have probably a top 5 pick again. But what I wouldn't be shocked to see, and they're really not that bad. They do have talent. RJ Barrett's there. They're good, but they're not good. And the way they're owned by someone who's looking for the right owner. They just made their team president who is their new team president's a sports agent who represents Chris Paul and Joel Embiid. What are you doing, New York? What are you doing?
Historic franchises being flushed down the toilet is what's going on. They were competing back in the 90s at least. With Patrick Ewing and everybody, they were competing. And now you look at the Knicks 30 years later, and there's no appeal to even go play in Madison Square Garden anymore. Remember when those were the games that were on TV? Even it didn't matter how bad the Knicks were even then, but Kobe looked forward to going to Madison Square Garden. Dwayne Wade looked to go to Madison because it was like the biggest stage. It was Madison Square Garden. It's where you wanted to go have your best game of your career. And now nobody's like, oh, we're going to MSG. Okay, well, we're going to beat the crap out of this team and then let's go home. I just don't even know what's going on in their front office. If you're trying to sell the Knicks right now, if that's your play as an owner, I don't know why you're trading away your assets. Nobody, who's going to want to buy a losing, unless you're going to sell it for cheap, then somebody definitely is going to buy a professional franchise. But let's just move on to to a couple other big trades. The Miami Heat acquire Andre Iguodala, 38-year-old. What are your feelings on that one?
I really like it. I have a friend who's a Heat fan, and he really liked the trade too. Obviously, they re-signed him as well. Obviously, as he has not played this year for Memphis and refused to play for Memphis, so they traded him. So, I think I really like it. I like the trade. Miami, a lot of people have been saying that they may be the team to maybe knock off the Bucks this year. So I like the trade. Andre Iguodala, I think, is still a valuable asset. and can be a valuable asset to them. And I really agree with it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I don't know though. You're giving away a lot of young talent to the Grizzlies. Justin Winslow's probably happy about it. He's reuniting with his Duke brother in there, who he won a national championship with. So
Let's not forget Giannis is a free agent after next year. So they
true,
cleared out a lot of cap space. They still have a lot of young talent,
but
and they're going to be just fine. I like the trade.
yeah, but youth. You're doing this for a guy who's 38 years old, who's probably only going to play in the league maybe 1 or 2 more years. He said he wanted to go to a contender, so he probably could win a championship and retire. We were talking at the end of the last season, Corey, that if they would have won, Iggy would have retired. Sean Livingston obviously retired. They were going to, I feel like they would have just retired. So to me, I like the trade, but at the same time, I'm like, it doesn't make sense giving up the youth for somebody who's only going to play maybe 1 or 2 more years. But I mean, the Grizzlies made out well. Bringing Justice Winslow back with his Duke guys, that's going to play a big, that chemistry that those guys had at Duke, that's going to come now to your team, and it's going to be great. You're going to see some fluid basketball out of them, hopefully. And keep those guys happy, because when the players are happy, they play better. So hopefully that works out for them. Earlier in the week, Clint Capella to Atlanta in a 4-team deal that involved 12 different players. The Rockets traded Capella to get... who did they get in return? They traded him... Sorry about that.
We can just talk about them unloading Clint Capella for a minute.
Yeah.
Clint Capella is a great player, but Houston can't. I think Houston finally realizes that having a big man is not going to win you anything, because you get exposed. You can get exposed in the pick and roll, and especially in the Western Conference. Now, don't get me wrong. Anthony Davis is a big man, in my opinion. He is a center, but they consider him a power forward. I think you can win with it. However, let's not forget, you're still missing 2 of the best shooters in basketball right now. When those guys are important to the NBA, because it kind of shows how a big man is undervalued now. Now, having a big man is important, and don't get me wrong, that's a very vital part.
To have somebody to rebound.
Exactly, you have to. However, for Houston, this allows them to open up a little bit. They just paid Clint Capella, so they dropped that contract, so they didn't really have to. I really like the fact that they got rid of him. I really like the fact that they got rid of him. I think, again, you have Russell Westbrook, James Harden,
Austin Rivers.
You got a lot of talent on that team still. I like it. I really do. Get rid of him. He is contract space that you don't need. Get rid of him. They don't need him. I like the move.
See, I just don't, because you know what always goes back to me with it? It always goes to this. I think it was the 2013. Yep, it had to be 2013. The 2013 NBA Finals. If Tim Duncan would have been on the floor to rebound the ball, does Ray Allen get that opportunity to make that 3 in Game 6? That's why it's important to have a big man for that moment. And let me tell you something. Houston, when you're up against Golden State and they have somebody who can rebound the ball even over your little guy, maybe your tallest player 6'6", well, Draymond Green's 6'10", so he's going to be able to rebound over him. and he kicks the ball out to Klay Thompson, Ray Allen type, he's going to knock down that shot. You know what I mean? That's why I don't like it, is because you can never undervalue what the center brings to the game. You have to be able to rebound the ball to win a game. Now, the other flip side to it, though, is you're going small, and the belief is that your offensive potential with James Harden and Westbrook and all your weapons is greater than being able to rebound the basketball. So basically what you're saying is well, we're going to play some defense. You may get second opportunities. We'll probably get the long rebounds, but we're going to outscore you anyway, so it doesn't matter. Well, what happens when you go up against the Lakers or the Clippers? Or next year when Steph and Clay are back, you have to go up against them and potential 2 top 5 draft picks. I just think sometimes owners react too in the moment. Houston also gets Jordan Bell, though, in the deal. They get Jordan Bell. That's not a bad pickup. He'll play meaningful minutes off the bench for you. Any other? That's all for me for trades, though, Court. That's mainly the trades that I saw. It looks like the Lakers just didn't want to give up Kyle Kuzma, because that's who they were looking at. That's who Memphis apparently wanted for Iguodala, was Kuzma. And he said playing in LA would have been one of his spots that he would want to go to, but they just couldn't work out the deal. But any other trades that you had your eye on?
Nope. There is no other real trades that I really like. Actually, I'll do the one that kind of surprised me. I like the fact that I don't know how I feel about it. Detroit traded Andre Drummond. I kind of can't believe it, but I understand it.
I get it. Apparently, they wanted to separate with him, at all cost. It looked like. I get the move. I don't like it if I'm them, but I get it. Like you said, I get it.
Yeah, but other than that, there was not another trade that really has shocked me that I really need to talk about.
Okay. All right. Well, Court, another big thing that just happened recently this week was Pete Rose's announcement that he hired an attorney, and they're gonna file to get his ban lifted from the MLB. In his main cases, which we already kind of discussed early, in an earlier show, was here you have the Houston Astros literally cheating to win a game, and all I did was place a bet while I was manager on my team to win, and did not affect the outcome in any way for me to financially gain. All he did was manage the game. I think that's a valid argument if I'm Pete Rose. That's a very valid argument. And you're not going to ban these guys for life, but I'm getting banned for life?
Look, from a Cincinnati standpoint, is what he did wrong? Absolutely. Should he have done it? No. But I could debate this all day. Does he deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? Yes.
But does he make a case?
Yes, he makes a great case. Do I think it will work? No, I do not. Does he deserve to be there? Yes, as a player. I could go on and on about this. Has the most hits ever by a lot. A lot. We talked about this last night. We were thinking about it. Okay, say Mike Trout, you have 200 hits a year. Okay? 200 hits a year.
Well, you have to play for another 20 years.
You have to play 20 years just to get to 4,000. And then you probably have to play another 2 years to even to pass. Like that's how good it was. That's how good he was. And they called him Charlie Hustle. He hustled. People dived to first base because of him. That's how much he wanted it. Every time the ball hit the bat, he was running. didn't slow down. He ran all out all the time because you never know what can happen. I think he deserves it. He deserves it. His case is great. I think, is it going to work? No.
So in your opinion, why won't it work?
Because to be in the Hall of Fame, you have to get voted in. Okay? As it's proven to you.
No, not for the Hall of Fame. This isn't a ban, just to get his ban lifted.
Oh,
why don't you think his
just to baseball?
Yeah.
Just to baseball? Yeah, I don't think. They make a good case. Why don't I think it's going to happen? Because it hasn't happened already. Everything else he's tried hasn't worked. People are in the Hall of Fame who took steroids.
True.
That's
Literally cheating.
That's cheating the game. They're in the Hall of Fame. What makes me think that they're going to allow him in just because they're not banning Houston Astros from a World Series? That's just the way it goes. That's the way it's gone. And that could be me as a Cincinnati guy just being bred that way. He is completely locked out.
Dude, man, when he was doing his interview the other night, he still had his Cincinnati hat on.
Yep. Hit King.
On every shirt.
On the collar, on every shirt.
Not even being from Cincinnati, though, but from a personal aspect, I think he makes a great case. I think it has the potential to work if the case is argued correctly. Because, again, he didn't cheat. He never cheated to win. He played the game and managed the game in its purest form. Yes, he was making financial gains outside of that on the games that he was coaching, but there has been no evidence and no proof that he ever threw a game. There is no proof that he ever threw a game. So without that, you could say, you're suspended for a year for gambling on the sport. Great. But you didn't throw it like the White Sox did.
Yeah, I understand
You
it. I understand it. There's nothing, I get it.
That's just my opinion. And we could talk all day about that. Just another big thing that happened in college football recently. Mike D'Antonio retired from Michigan State. Just from what it sounds like and what I've read about it, it just sounds like there is trouble in East Lansing, and he is getting out before the storm comes. He's getting out. That's what it sounded like to me. Your thoughts, Core?
I don't know. I think, again, every dog has his day. Maybe this was his plan all along. Just didn't inform anybody of it. And, obviously he had a tremendous career at Michigan State. I know he definitely brought Michigan State football back up. And it's kind of a sad day and a happy day. I'm not sure who they're going to get to replace him.
Rumors are like Luke Fickell, but I don't
Cincinnati.
think he's coming.
I don't know. I don't know about that. But D'Antonio leaving, I think it was just kind of bad timing. You're putting the next guy in a bad spot, not being able to recruit, and losing, obviously, that, and not being able to have to pretty much put a team together.
Well, you know why he waited, right? $4.3 million. I'll give you $4.3 million of them.
Yeah, and I definitely, but again, obviously,
it's just a real crappy situation if you're the next head coach of Michigan State.
It is 100%.
Just a really crappy situation. I always thought he had better class than what he did. I thought he was more of a classier individual than that. To at least say, hey, I'm leaving. You guys should probably start. I'm gonna leave at this point. I'm gonna retire, so you better have a head coach waiting. Somebody who's gonna come, who's gonna be able to recruit and do all that stuff. Just a real disrespectful way to treat your employer of the past almost 17 years now. It seems like he's been there. I'm not sure, but it seems like he's been there forever. Um, but just a real disrespectful thing to do from what I thought was a classy individual. All right, Core. Well, we're going to move into Corey's weekend watch. What do you got for us this weekend, Core?
Ooh, we got a lot of good stuff this weekend. Lots of good stuff.
Break it down for me, Big
all right.
Daddy.
So the first thing I want to talk about is Saturday night. Okay, Saturday night you have John Bones Jones, the champ, versus Reyes, another American. 12-0 is Reyes. John Jones 25-1. John Jones a heavy
I like
favorite.
John Jones in it.
Heavy favorite. I've read a little bit into this. I'm going to tell you something. I think this Reyes can fight. Do I think he's going to win? I'm not sold. I like John Jones, but I think this Reyes, I think he can fight.
Well, we're going to find out in a couple days.
I think he can fight, and he's deserving, and I would not be shocked if Reyes takes this title.
All right, what else you got for us?
Well, I know you love it. We like the WWE. So, on top of the WWE, you have Vince McMahon, who owns the XFL, is back. Football is still alive.
Yes.
Oh, the Super Bowl's over? No problem.
No worries. We got football still. The XFL. I like it.
The XFL is back this weekend. There are everyone in action, okay? And how do you like this? Saturday, 2 p.m., ABC, you have the Dragons versus the Defenders. Then the nightcapper, Saturday, 5 p.m., on Fox, you have the Wildcats versus the Roughnecks. And then on Sunday, you have the Vipers and Guardians on Fox. And then on ESPN on Sunday, 5 p.m., the Battlehawks versus the Renegades. I think it's great. Football is still alive. It's great. It makes me happy. I'm not sure what to expect. Again, I don't have expectations. I've said this before. I would go into it with no expectations. The fact that football is still happening is great. Accept it. Let's go with it. Roll with it.
You know what I can expect to see out of this? A lot of former college players who did it, who were like the third string guys in the NFL, are going to be in this league. That's what we're going to see. It's going to be great because a lot of these guys. I know Cardell Jones is is the starting quarterback of the Defenders. Just wait for these guys to get out there and play the game that they probably love, because they wouldn't be doing this if they didn't love the game. So it's going to be great. I hopefully we get a good product. Hopefully it's good football. And I just can't wait. It's going to be great. I'm just excited that we don't have a break in football until probably, I think, May is what they were saying, right? Is when the XFL season's going to be ending, and then right then it's like smooth sailing straight into August. It's going to be great. Anything else this weekend you're looking forward to, Core?
Oh, yeah. How about the best rivalry in college basketball on Saturday? Duke, North Carolina. I think we're on opposite sides of the spectrum again, my friend.
Let's go, Duke. Let's go, Duke. Let's go, Duke.
No, see, I'm a Tar Heel guy all along. Always. I think this is a good game. Going to be a good game. Going to be wild to watch, wild to see. But a lot of good coming out of sports this weekend. Those are the main things to watch. All of them are going to be great. Enjoy it. Football is still alive. You got the best rivalry in sports, possibly, but college basketball for sure. It's going to be great.
Love it. Yeah, I always get excited for Duke, North Carolina. We're coming really into rivalry basketball time. A lot of these big rivalry games are played later in the year. I just can't wait. We get Kansas State again at some point. I know. Uh, we get. It's just going to be great. This time, these last few weeks of February for college basketball, and then the first week and a half of March, the best time to watch college basketball. If you're filling out brackets this year, you want to start now and see what these teams are looking like down the stretch. Beginning of the season really doesn't matter, like how they're playing now. That's what's really going to tell you about bracketology, getting those picks. But again, in the tournament, anything can happen. Anything else this weekend, Core? Anything you want to mention?
No, not really. Not really too much, other than those couple things this weekend. But it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a great weekend in sports.
Yeah, definitely. Well, alrighty, guys. For all your Ohio State needs, don't forget to check out the OHIO podcast found on Podbean and pretty much anywhere you find your podcast.
And also, do not forget to check out us, the 513 Sports Attack, on all major podcast platforms: iHeartRadio, Podbean, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify. We're on them all. And also, please check out our Facebook page and Instagram page at the 513 Sports Attack. Feel free to tag us with any posts, questions, anything you'd like us to maybe talk about. And also, don't hesitate to email us at the 513sportsattack@gmail.com for topics or questions or anything you'd like to chat about.
Thanks for listening, guys. One love.